Ladies and gentlemen, the Thrustmaster eSwap Pro controller is officially coming to the US. I told you this was coming. You remember? You could put the clip in from the other vid. You know what I'm talking about? Do you remember? Be like, that is on the way, and you just have that, and then I'm just gonna look up at you at that cam, and I'm gonna be like, I told you. This is not the full review for the Thrustmaster, okay? I actually want to use this controller before I review it for you guys. But we will be covering everything that comes with it, its overall features and design, and just giving you my first impressions. If you don't want to miss that full review, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit notifications so you don't miss it. Now, the Thrustmaster is an official Sony licensed product, and it has been out in Europe for quite some time. It is not officially announced when this is coming to the US or its final price, but I am guessing that this is going to be in the $160 to $180 ballpark. Let's crack this bad boy open. Okay, so Thrustmaster eSwap in a lot of ways reminds you of the Astro A40, except for it's not wireless. And a couple booklets. We don't need those. So we have a satchel here, and then we have a nice braided micro USB cord with, looks like a locking mechanism on it. We're gonna have to test that out. Does this satchel actually hold the controller? Oh, that's perfect. Who puts their controller in a satchel? Nobody does that. And then we have a Phillips head tool here. Almost looks like something out of like a, fix your glasses kit. So the Thrustmaster is completely modular, even more so than the Astro A40s that we've reviewed here on the channel. They have expansion packs for this to where if you were really into fighting games, you could go ahead and throw on a couple extra buttons, almost like the old school arcade games, which, I mean, that is just dope. Now, all of these modules are magnetic, so they just pull right out, they pop right in. It's just a complete no-brainer. Yeah, this is definitely way more simple than the Astro A40s were. But the D-pad itself doesn't pull out very easily, and that's what you have this tool for. On the other side from that Phillips head, it just slides in and then you turn it, and then you can pull that module right out. So they definitely thought that through, but I mean, ultimately, we're gonna be swapping the D-pad. We're just gonna pull it out like that. So if you're a fan of the PlayStation layout for the thumbsticks, you can have that, or you can go ahead and swap this out and set it up like you're on an Xbox. So let's go ahead and do that. Probably took me less than 5 seconds to switch the modules. If you want, let's say just for instance, maybe you're disabled and it would benefit you to have both of your thumbsticks on one side of the controller and to have everything else on the other side. This layout is something that could be useful to someone in need of increased accessibility, or maybe they predominantly have to use their left hand. That would greatly benefit them because they could control both of those thumbsticks on the left-hand side. Now, the charging port itself is keyed and it has little ridges on the side, and it's actually meant to be like forced in. And the reason that they do this is so that it's not going to lose connection. It's just rock solid in there. This is actually really appreciated, just this whole thick key design and the fact that it's gonna stay connected. One, because the controller is not wireless. And two, because having that wiggle that's constantly on that micro USB port for connection can actually deteriorate that connection, where at some point in time later on down the line, it'll stop working properly. Man, you can really feel that it's in there too. I mean, it's definitely a firm lock. So besides our, connection and charging cord and our little Allen key and Phillips head, that's all we get for extras. There's no extra swappable side plates included for us, which these are magnetic. They have different styles and grips and patterns, and you can order those all online, of course, at an added cost, but just to customize it and really make it your own, you have to spend more money. Now, the triggers in the back do not have adjustable stops at all, but you can calibrate the controller fully in the software. So you can calibrate your thumbstick responsiveness and your dead zones here, and you can also calibrate your dead zones and activation points for your triggers in the back. And the software is also where you're gonna be doing all of your remapping to your buttons on the back here. You have 4 extra inputs that you can map to whatever you like, and you get to put these on your 2 custom profiles. You have a little profile button down here that you click to switch between your 2 profiles, and this front indicator light will toggle back and forth to let you know which profile you're on. So these screws in the back, just to be clear, are not like the scuff adjustable hair triggers in the back at all. So these are here so that you can actually remove this screw. And once that little baby screw is out, you should be able to just pull that cap right off. So you can order like extended triggers that give you like a larger range of motion in the back. And then they also have some different colors and textures and designs. Another popular option built onto the bottom of the controller is that mic kill switch. Just in case your mom comes in, starts beating you because you didn't do your chores, you can kill that mic so you don't sound like a pansy in front of all your friends. So all of our button inputs on the Thrustmaster are rated for 5 million actuations, and it's claimed that they're tested in a laboratory environment. And that goes for your D-pad, your PlayStation button, all of your face buttons here, your share, and then of course your extra inputs in the back. So they all feel and sound pretty much like mouse clicks. Really light to the press, quick to reset, and accurate. Now on the box, it actually states that these thumbsticks are rated for 2 million actuations and that is tested as well. And my question is, how do you rate 2 million actuations on a thumbstick? I mean, because what if I'm just constantly sprinting forward and applying pressure? And that's all I do for the majority of the game. Or what if the majority of the game I'm just constantly using that thumbstick and it's rotating around? Does that count as one actuation? Or does this count as an actuation? Just saying. They're actually really short thumbsticks. The range of motion is pretty tight and they glide pretty well. But I do like a heightened thumbstick on the right-hand side just for my aiming thumb. And that is to have a larger axis with which that I aim from. It just gives me a little bit more control in game. More than likely, it'll be compatible with Control Freaks, but they do have some options online to where we can swap this out for a different thumbstick module that actually has the tops of these that are removable, and you can change the style of thumbstick that you have on top, or possibly have some heightened thumbsticks as well. Top L1 and R1 actually feel good to the touch. They reset really well. They're very easy to actuate, and they have that same clicky tactile responsiveness that the rest of the buttons on the controller have. The touchpad itself is actually much smaller than what you see on the stock Sony DualShock 4s, but it's also different in how well it clicks to actuate. You'll notice if you press at the sides, it just kind of tilts down, but if you press in the center, that's definitely where that actuator is. I guess that's only important to people out there who actually map that front input to control something in game. I actually like the grips on the side. It's a good texture, it takes up a good amount of space, and if you do have any problems with them deteriorating over time, I mean, it's a no-brainer. They're super easy to swap out. I like that they didn't go with that soft touch matte coating that a lot of companies have been going with, because it just gets super dirty really easy. This is just going to be easy to keep clean, no problem. And if I want to clean it off, get all the fingerprints off, it's just going to be a breeze. It's not going to hold a whole bunch of oils in the surface. Lastly, and veterans to the channel know, most importantly, are the back inputs, which you can tell are more centralized in the controller. So I'm going to hold this controller for the first time like I'm just going to be sitting here using it right now, and let my fingers fall where they naturally fall. And they fall down the sides of the controller. So bringing my fingers up to the bottom too, that feels very natural. That doesn't feel natural. Well, I can't bring my top fingers down. Are they expecting me to use just my middle fingers for both of these? If so, then these shouldn't be ridged. This should be angled upwards here so that your finger can rock between the two inputs instead of running into that ledge. That's just my personal opinion. First time holding it, I like how easy they are to press, and I like these two right here. These actually feel great. It just doesn't feel very well thought out in the back as far as making the most out of your hands, because you have all of this down here that you could be using, but instead it's all just kind of forced to the middle here, and hopefully your hands are big enough. So if I was a smaller person with smaller hands, these inputs in the middle would probably be hard to get to, or just make me go out of my way to get to them. But if you have larger hands, this will be very easy to use. I really can't call it yet. I need to use this, get some hours under my belt with it. Still got to try it out, give you guys my final thoughts in the full review. So first impressions, this has definitely taken a lot of notes from the Astro C40s and built upon what the Astro C40s were doing. And Thrustmaster is also making some pretty heavy promises here as far as lifespan, at least right there on the box. So 5 million actuations on all of these little tactile mouse inputs here on the face, on the top, and on the back of the controller. And that's actually where a lot of people have their biggest issues. Not even after heavy use, we hear a lot of complaints of back inputs on Elite controllers just going out over time. And then their next promise, the 2 million actuations on the thumbsticks, that's the next biggest thing that's always complained about, or thumbstick modules that get drift over time and just aren't accurate or usable any longer. But even if that does happen on a modular controller like this, you can just order a new thumbstick module and you're good to go. So all of the final US pricing, the release dates, and the cost that it's going to be for these modules and customization kits here in the US will be in the full review. So that's pretty much it for the unboxing and first impressions for the Thrustmaster eSwap. It looks promising so far, but we're going to get some time under our belts and bring you guys our full conclusions as quick as we can. Also, these reviews are unsponsored, unbiased. I make absolutely nothing off of any of you guys' purchases, and my opinions always remain my own. If you value honest content like that, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content. It's greatly appreciated. Notification Squad, you guys freaking rock. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Peace.